And we're live.
All right, welcome everybody to another Thursday night, and this is the Guitar Gear Locker. My name is Alex Books, and this is my co-host Roger Sutherland. And tonight we got some really cool guests. Tonight we have some people from the School of Rock in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Welcome to the show.
We've been talking about this for a while now, and we've been trying to build the channel up a little bit. So we have Curtis Hust, who is the owner of the local franchise here in Fredericksburg of School of Rock. We have Mallori, who's the vocal instructor and studio coordinator, and Hallie, who is the guitar instructor and an alumni, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So, and we want to talk about that a little bit, but I figured we'd start with kind of the so we'll start with this first to get this out of the way. This is Trouble. You all know who Trouble is. This is Cody. He said, "What's up, guys?" He comes in the comments. He's Trouble. It took us a while to figure that out. So he enlightened us. So I wanted to first talk about the School of Rock, and of course, everybody knows we talk about a lot of metal, a lot of rock and roll, guitars, and gear nerd stuff. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. We're going to work our way through the music, but this is kind of, in my opinion, the grassroots of the music. This is where it starts with the training and getting people inspired, and we talk about that every week. So I kind of wanted to start with the School of Rock, which I didn't realize started in Philadelphia, and we have a lot of people that watch in Philadelphia. Alex hails from Philadelphia, and this is the 25th year, right, of School of Rock.
That sounds right. Yeah. Talking about Paul Green's School of Rock in Philly.
Right. So they started in Philly, 385 locations, 17 countries. And now we are, thanks to you all, we are lucky enough to have one here because I didn't have the nerve enough to do it back when my daughter was taking lessons. So I guess where I wanted to start is, and again, for those that like to listen about metal and music, we're going to get there, and guitars. But I wanted to know about you all's experience, and I know Hallie started in Northern Virginia, but what was you all's experience with School of Rock, and then how did that kind of parlay itself into opening up and becoming a franchisee and opening up ours here in Fredericksburg?
Now, so the origin story of this School of Rock is kind of interesting. We actually, Hallie was taking local guitar lessons from, Rick Lawhorn here in Fredericksburg. Yeah. Amazing guitar teacher.
Absolutely.
Took her very far. She was playing with backing tracks on her own, and asking around, her friends and whatever to start a band up or whatever, how kids do. Right. None of that interest seemed to be found anywhere in her peer group. Right. She was left frustrated. And mind you, this was all going on during, about the tail end of COVID.
Right.
But she was also, into all these concerts and stuff, and she had located this festival that was taking place up in Pennsylvania that we went to. It was in this huge winery, and they had a huge stage, and they had brought all these artists from, like Lita Ford was there,
right.
Firehouse had played there, Mr. Big was playing there with right. George Lynch, of course, was there, and Jack Russell's Great White. All these greats were just playing, like all these great guys from the 80s. We're like, holy cow. It was really awesome. So, but on our second day, there was a house band out of Clark, New Jersey that had played there. Joey Casada, I think, was the music director for that school. And he was also playing with Trickster at that time, I think.
Okay.
Still does. I'm not sure what his in and outs are nowadays. But so we saw them playing, and we didn't know what this was. We all knew about the Jack Black movie. And so we're just like standing by ourselves. And this is Hallie is standing next to me like, this is what I've been looking for. What is this thing? And I was like, I have no idea. So, of course, we Googled it like anybody would, and we found one near where I was working up in Alexandria. And so we filled out the form online, went up there, and, she went through the program. We signed her right up. And, I mean, just the amazing progress, not just musically, but socially. And just their dedication to music was just, I was beside myself.
Right.
Fast forward, I was like, I need this in Fredericksburg because we were commuting from Fredericksburg to Alexandria, 2 or 3 times a week just to be involved with this amazing program. So,
right.
the opportunity presented itself, that maybe I could actually do this. And
Right.
we researched a little bit and started asking questions, and we just started, it's kind of laughable. I said, we'll just keep trying until we, can't find any way around it. And
Right.
here I am, open a year now, and I still haven't been told no. So,
Right.
so here
Right.
we are, and I mean, I cannot stop talking about how amazing this is. I mean, even the community side of it is just an amazing thing.
Right.
Watch
Right.
these kids come in here that the first days they come in here, they won't talk. And a month in, they're already, high-fiving me on the way out the door, and
Right.
come in here when they don't have lessons just to practice in a room, or
Yeah.
some of them meet with their friends here and just, music minded. And it's just a really cool place. I
Right.
like the community that it's bringing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and that's the place. Alex and I, and Alex and I are both big fans of you all and School of Rock. And we were kind of comparing notes. Like when we started, I started taking notes. It was taking lessons when I was a kid in a group atmosphere with adults and kids, with some old man up front. I say old man, he was probably my age now, and at Silver Spring Library, and it was boring. It wasn't inspirational. We were playing songs that didn't motivate me. And I think that's the difference with you guys. And you have a similar story, Alex.
Yeah, in school, I wanted to originally play guitar. Closest they had was drums, because I grew up in the '70s of hard rock, and uh, so I took drums, and man, I was so disappointed because this was I guess 1984, and all I wanted to do was just learn how to play Judas Priest or something like that, and and obviously it helped me in certain ways, what I what I learned, but what I really wanted to do was just, can you teach me this? And my teacher looked at me like I had three heads or something like that, and
Right.
so I never would have dreamed to see something like School of Rock. I think it's just an amazing thing because a lot of kids, they want to learn the music they're listening to, and in the early days, it wasn't that way. We really couldn't
Right.
learn at a school, something like this.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think it's
and Haley, you've probably heard the stories from Rick. Like, and I was when I was young and took lessons. You have that instructor that tells you like you have to learn that boring stuff to get to the good stuff, and it's like, well, why can't we just cut to the chase and get to the good stuff and forget the boring stuff and maybe work back to the boring stuff? The boring stuff may be important, but it wasn't when I was a teenager. That's interesting. So, School of Rock has what they call the patented music education. Can you all explain what that is?
Yeah, I can definitely jump into that a little bit. We have that song first approach, not song only, right?
Right.
So, and roughly what that means is we start off with the songs, the music that they want to play.
Right.
And while they're doing their lessons, we do add concepts and theory and examples of why, other artists that use this, this part of the theory, and why learning this is important. But also at the same time, they're playing, Ozzy Osbourne, or they're playing,
Right.
I mean, right now that we're actually doing set lists from indie rock and pop punk emo. So they're doing
Right.
all these different things all the time. So they're getting really well rounded with it. But they're also learning their theory and not even really realizing it, and
Right.
moving forward with that. And then the added element of the group peer pressure thing, like there's a deadline that we're working towards a goal.
Right.
We have a show coming up. We have these 15 songs we need to learn because we're going to be playing them live for a real audience. And
Right.
it's like these motivating factors that go in with it. And then it's group. They're all the camaraderie. They're all learning together. They're learning cues from each other. So they're
Right.
not just learning guitar. They're learning how to be a musician. They're
Right.
learning all the aspects of it. What can go wrong on stage? They can learn to work
Right.
through troubleshooting a chord really quickly, how to play through a mistake or a
Mhm.
broken string. All these type of things on the stage, and it's real and it happens. It happened when we played at Strange Ways Brewing, and they just
Yeah.
didn't even notice half of the stuff that happened up there, but because they overcome it and they were prepared. And
Right.
Mhm.
It's really cool how all that stuff is added with this program, and they learn
Right.
in. Yeah, and I think it's a lot of it is that positive peer learning aspect, and
Right.
yeah, and it's amazing because all of our instructors are working together. They're also gigging musicians, so they know this industry. They play
Right.
these stages, and so they're really helping these kids get ready for that because they have real world experience of
Right.
what we're doing here. So I mean, that's just
Right.
an added cool bonus
Now,
that School of Rock has with it.
you kind of hit on this, like this isn't just a guitar lesson. We can obviously see the room you're in, and without like giving a tour of the place, like kind of describe, because it's not just like a little room that you go in and take a lesson with somebody. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like there's studio stuff. There are all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, this is you're behind us. This is the garage. So here in the garage, I mean, I'm sitting underneath the garage door that we open and close, so it has that real feel to it. And you know,
Right.
we have an entire rehearsal, everything back here for a rehearsal. We got microphones. There's a PA system in here. There's a full drum kit and the keyboards and all the amplifiers and chords that you would want to play with, and
Right.
all these type of things in here that are just ready to go. And I have
Right.
multiple rooms like this, so I can do 2 rehearsals at the same time, which we're currently, we just got done with one tonight. We have another one tomorrow night.
Right.
Just getting ready for what we're doing in June. So, and then on the other side of you, behind you, we have a full student lounge where the kids can collaborate behind you. They kind of hang out,
Right.
eat some food, joke around. We have trivia, music trivia and Mad Libs that Hallie's introduced, and there's just like
Right.
all these cool little nuances that we have here in the school. It's just really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cool vibe.
I
So
like what you said about, performing live and being on stage, because that is a whole other animal in itself. And to be able to perform with people, and like you said, to be prepared for certain instances, and working your way through mistakes and things like that. So that's extremely important. It's a completely different thing than just sitting at home and playing the instrument. Is getting out in front of people. And
right.
I love to hear that. That's a very important thing, I think, to learn.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and with the interesting part, because I've been to a few of your programs down there that you've had, and just watching some of the younger players and the way they progressed through the year has been phenomenal. And I think that is, you know, a direct reflection of, being around other musicians in there and the repetition, being around it more, rather than doing like me sitting in your basement playing. I think that the added element that you all give them, I mean, you can really see, well, and their age, you progress faster at that age also, but I think it's the whole mixture that you have coming together down there.
Yeah. So you mentioned the age, and I mean, there's really not a School of Rock age here. I'll touch on
Right.
that. We have students 4 years old. We have a group program that starts at 4 years old.
Yep.
We have an adult program, and they get to go play live too. They work on Monday nights here. We have a whole band that they're working on a set list as well. So
Right.
it's just amazing because there's all those different programs. We have the Rock 101 that you were talking about,
Uh-huh.
the very beginners, but they're also in a group and they'll play live, and
Right.
they'll be able to play live with just being here a month or 2 months. They'll be able to play through a couple songs. I mean, they're not perfect by any means. They're
Right.
beginners.
Sure.
They're up there on that stage like everybody else, and
Right.
all the courage behind that is just amazing to see.
That's
Right.
probably my favorite part about School of Rock is our Rock 101 program, actually,
Uh-huh.
because like he mentioned, we have preschool, we have first and kindergarten and first grade classes. After that, the kids have really leaned into what their instrument's going to be. Okay, I'm a guitar player. Okay, I'm a keys player. All right. So now we graduate them into the Rock 101 program.
Right.
And that's when they come to school twice a week. They come
Yeah.
once for their individual lesson and once for their group.
Okay.
It's amazing to see. They don't even know each other. They don't know
Right.
CCR, but in 12
Right.
weeks, they're playing these songs together, and it's
Right.
just a beautiful thing to see.
Now, it's funny that you all started here. That was actually my next question: is the different age groups, and I want I want to save the adult program because I was kind of fascinated with that, like we talked before. But so at what age? So to start with, like what age do they start? What is the youngest? And then how do you all like kind of walk us through how the progression of like they come in and they could be at this young age and then we kind of sort things out and we decide this one's going to go drums, this is guitar, this is bass, things like that. What does that look like?
You can take that.
Yeah. So once again, we have group-based classes for our youngsters. So it's called Little Wing. Get it? Little Wing.
Yeah.
And it's for the 4 and 5-year-olds. And it's group-based. So we just do rhythm patterns. We identify, okay, the group guitar sound, the bass guitar, how are they different? Things like that. And then kindergarten and first grade, same thing. But this time they're each trying the different instruments on their own. That's how we kind of can tell this kid is really gravitating toward the keys, or this kid, man, he's got a great bass, whatever it is, we can kind of see that and talk with their parents. Right. And at that point, once we feel like, yeah, man, they've really got these chords down on the keyboard, it's time to move them up. So then we would talk to the parents and move them up to the Rock 101 program. And that's, we would pair them up with an individual instructor, a beginner instructor, somebody who's used to teaching the basics. And then they'll work through that Rock 101 program. And that ages are usually around 8, we'll say, just for fun, right? They get out of the group-based class around age 8 is when they find what they're doing. And then for fun, we'll say by 13-ish, again, proficiency is always factored in. We'll say 13, they go into the performance group. And that's for kids who are ages 13 to 18, and they're ready to rock. They've already done Rock 101. They already know their favorite songs, so that's when that happens. They graduate. And then from there, once they turn 18, then we roll them into the adult program, or they be like Hallie and become instructors.
Exactly. So I noticed during the last, and I want to talk about the house band and things like that. The last function that I came to, I noticed that, and I know people are dying to get to music and things. I noticed there was a harder tone, which I liked, to the musical choices rather than Life is a Highway. Haley, I had to do that. Wasn't that his favorite song, Life is a Highway?
Great song. I love that song.
It's an awesome song. I just thought I'd tease you for a minute.
Yeah, there's always our kids that are metalheads. There's always going to be, always will be. So we do cycle through. We do play some heavy stuff, and a lot of times those are show stealers, But I mean, the metal is just one thing. I mean, rock is such a huge broad spectrum. Like everything can be rock, right? So I mean, so we play everything, and you see those. Your Life is the Highway, But I think if you were there early on, we played Chumbawamba as well, and that was, it was crowd favorite songs. And these kids, some of these songs they've never heard of before, and now they love them. And so it's great that they're getting all this history of rock, and of course they get to play my favorite songs. I get a little bit because I'm the owner, right? So But we're also playing to their parents. Their parents grew up in these eras too, and so kids are playing the music that they grew up to. So everybody is winning here. So it's just an amazing all-around experience.
And School of Rock has an amazing curriculum that they've got tons of different shows that we can choose from, right? So we could do a pop punk show, or we could do like a Southern rock or a Motown even. They have all the different genres. So we get to decide, our music director, or Gavin is our music director, decide, what shows we're going to do, and then start pulling songs in that genre.
Now, do the students start like if they come in and say, hey, we need more metal, because it seemed like there was a core group of students that were kind of into that, and they were doing a phenomenal job. And the funny part is some of the songs they're playing was from like when I was a teenager.
Me too.
And seeing these youngsters that know those songs is kind of interesting, I thought.
Yeah, I think they just have cool parents. I mean,
you know what? I was going to say it, but I didn't say it. I was going to say you could tell the students that have cool parents, but it is kind of interesting that you look out, and you mentioned it, Curtis. You look out in the crowd while they're performing and see the smiles on the parents' faces, because they're all involved in that in some way or another.
Yeah, Hey, that a lot of the younger generation too is discovering all the early music and the music from the 60s and 70s rock and early 80s stuff, all the stuff me and Roger grew up with, and
Yeah.
it's really refreshing to see that, and how much they're into it. Me and Roger were even discussing the other day. There's so many great young blues players out there nowadays.
Right.
Really refreshing to see that, because that's a whole new generation that music is gonna live on,
Right.
on, and it's really important. Yeah, it's such a positive force, music, period. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing.
Now,
I
do
want to
you?
add something, real quick. The other aspect is, yeah, we're introducing these kids to all this great music, but I've noticed that our instructors are getting introduced to some newer music that maybe they weren't listening to before either. So
Right.
I have noticed a little bit of that going on in this school, and they're like, and they are finding their vibe with it, and it's kind of that's
Yeah.
interesting, a little side effect that I noticed around here, and I thought it was kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to throw up a comment real quick. Joe's in here. He's with us every week. I want to make sure. He said, "Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us again." Um, so, and I know, so you're still, well, you're just at a year. You're coming up on a year now. Um, and I guess, you can't do everything in a year, but are you gonna start expanding into, I know you're doing covers and you have themes and things like that. Are you gonna expand into music writing and lyrics and things like that? Is that
So
something, and I don't even know if School of Rock does that.
no, it is a thing that they do,
Okay.
and there are plans in our future. Once there is enough interest in doing that in our school,
Uh-huh.
but we are introducing a summer camp this year with songwriting that
Oh,
you can
nice.
do now, and it's kind of like a test pilot for us to see, which instructors can best run that type of a program, and
Right.
and what type of interest do we have in the community for something
Right.
of that nature, right? Because I mean, that's a big step going into songwriting, and a lot of people want to, and you hear people wanting to write a song, and it's not as easy as it sounds. But
Right.
we do have a number of instructors that are doing songwriting now, that
Right.
are in that part, and we have curriculum for it. Um, but I don't want to launch something like that premature without having enough interest to
Sure.
get that off the ground properly, if that makes
Right.
sense. But
Right.
yeah, there's aspirations to do that in the near future.
Yeah, and that's Alex, maybe you can make a visit down there. Alex writes songs. Alex has helped me right now learn to do some songwriting. We're finding out I'm not very creative because I've been in a government box for 30 years. I've been told what to do. What's that?
I said you found out you are creative.
Maybe not yet. Maybe I'm on my way to becoming creative. Joe has cool that they're teaching the kids. Yeah, they're teaching Joe. Yeah, some of the stuff that what Haley. What were some of the songs that you all had at the last function? At what was that? Strange Ways.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had 3 performance groups. Well, in Rock 101, our younger kids, but the performance
Right.
group did one-hit wonders. So that's where
Right.
you would like tub thumping,
Right.
and then we had our best of 2010s. That's
Okay.
where our kids were schooling us on some of that music.
Okay.
And then we had our classic metal. We're talking about where some of our kids like to shred. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
genres.
Mhm.
So, and I can't remember. I remember a few of the songs, but what? Just so some of the people following at home, what were some of the songs they were playing? They were actually surprisingly hard. I mean,
Well,
like heavy metal kind of stuff. I would.
Roger, because Hallie
What's that?
actually created that whole set list
Yeah, I
for the
did.
entire season, so she has
Yeah.
all those things in her head.
All right. What was it?
For what group?
Go with
The last one at Strange Ways. Just a couple of them, not the whole set list.
Yeah, so for the metal group, we had songs like Breaking the Law. We had, what else? Symphony of Destruction.
Yeah.
Holy Diver. That's a good one.
You're right.
We also had Mental Health on there, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Stir puppets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Cowboys
kids really
from
loved
Hell.
that one.
Yeah, Cowboys from Hell was on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Spades?
really interesting. Excuse me?
Ace of Spades too.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I was trying to remember and tell Alex, and of course, a lot of the people who watch this podcast are metal people and death metal and hard music. So I just wanted to give them a sample of some of the stuff you all are doing down there and how it's right down. It's like the next generation coming up. So it's really interesting. The other benefit, so we could talk about Strange Ways. We could talk about your partnership with Gore Melts. So that's not a loser deal either, because it was hard to find a parking place at
Right.
Strange Ways. That
That's
place was packed.
Yeah, and I've been speaking with Strange Ways, and we're actually going back there this June for
Yeah.
another show, and we'll do it outside. So that's really exciting that they, speaking with them, they were really happy with the show. Of course, it was an amazing thing. So
Right.
we're definitely going back there. I think we've played Six Bears and a Goat before, and that was a fun video as well. Again, we run out of parking just because there's the sheer volume of people that we bring with us to the shows.
Right.
A lot of our live local bands here don't bring in the audiences these kids are bringing in. And
I was just getting ready to say that. Like any other city that has a School of Rock in it, you need to listen to this.
it's for real. I mean, we've had, I would say, I was safe to say 300 people that we brought with us to Strange Ways, standing room only in that bar. I mean, if they were allowed to mosh pit in there, I think that would have started. It was just, there were just so many people in there.
They were sitting on the ground.
There were
weren't
people
they?
sitting in front. We had little kids headbanging in the front row. And, it was.
We had babies with earphones on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was great. I was stuck behind the camera. I couldn't get out. I'm a big guy, so there was no place. So I couldn't work the crowd or anything. I was stuck. There was just so many people in there. It was really fun.
And that's talk about a win-win. So it's a win for you guys. It's a win for the students, the win for the parents, a win for the businesses that you're going in. I've been there to see a few bands, and I've never seen it like that. I've never seen somebody in the parking lot guiding me in going, I think there's a place way over there. So it kind of blew my mind. So we'll let Trouble in again. Yeah, the mosh pit. I think he would lead the mosh pit. Yeah. Sure. So let's talk a little bit about your partnership with Gore Melts. You have that coming up, and the mac and cheeses.
That's right. So I've been speaking with Matt and Maria Strickland, and they invited us to come down on a regular schedule with our house band. So that's going to be every second Saturday of the year for all year. Every second Saturday of the month, all year long. We're going to play Mac and the Cheeses. That was just a happy coincidence. We have a house band member. His name was Mac, so that's how the name came around. It just kind of works out with Gore Melt's theme. So and they do. They have about almost 2 hours worth of music ready to go, and they'll be playing there every second Saturday.
Right.
There's probably some things that Gore Melts is going to announce. So I'm not going to announce it here because I think I'm going to let them have their thunder moments for us. But it's a really cool thing that they're doing with us. A lot of things they're doing, they didn't have to. It's really cool that they are letting School of Rock play there regular like that. It's just I was beside myself with the offer, and it's amazing. And I just want to make sure that we do them justice, and we will. These kids are amazing, so it's going to be great.
Yeah. It's always a lot of fun, and like I said, to see anybody that's watching this, if you haven't been to a School of Rock show, you really need to go, because it will blow your mind. Like that, I don't know his name, and I apologize for that, but the bass player that plays the fretless bass that was playing Primus.
Bryce.
It was like Les Claypool was in there, Alex. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And how old is he?
I do. He's 16. Almost 17. Yeah. He's been with us for quite a while. He's just and he's an amazing student. Amazing person in general. He's just he deserves to be in house band. He's just a really stand-up young man.
Right.
And there, I mean, there's a number of students. Everybody in house band is kind of that way. It's just
Right.
amazing.
And I was going to say that I didn't want to discredit anybody else, but when you hear somebody at that age playing Primus, that
Oh.
just stuck out. You know, they're all phenomenal, but that one kind of stuck out because I wasn't expecting to hear Primus and Les Claypool come out of somebody that age. I didn't even think they'd know who it was, first of all.
Kids will surprise you. They know lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Cool parents, right?
Yeah.
I'll throw another comment up.
Yeah.
Yep, 100% recommends going to School of Rock. Go ahead, Alex. I keep running my mouth.
Oh, well, I actually, I was, I'm a touring musician, and a few years ago I was in Europe, and we were in Barcelona in Spain. And so a fellow musician that we knew, he was in town, and he reached out to us and said, "Hey, I'm down at the Metal Academy, and would you guys like to come down to the school?" And we were just like, "Metal Academy? Wow, this is crazy." So he invited us down, and we met. It was a pretty large school, and similar to School of Rock. And so I'm wondering if all the way in Spain they were inspired by School of Rock in the States, because I was pretty blown away by it, because it's basically identical to what the School of Rock is. And it was really impressive. And like I said, it was a really large place, and they had tons of students there, and different tiers and things like that. And, so it was just really cool. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware that there's a metal academy in Barcelona, Spain.
No, I did not.
Yeah, and I'm sure they were inspired by School of Rock to do something like that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe they saw the Strangeway show, the Metal Academy. So what is okay? So Hallie, you're the guitar instructor. So what's been your biggest moment this last year of being an instructor?
Honestly, like, my favorite part about being an instructor is, like, for the students I've had for a while, like, seeing where they were before to now, like, how much this program has done for them. Like, it made them better musicians.
Yeah.
They're learning so much, and I always have proud teacher moments
Right.
during the lessons, during the rehearsals. I actually love being a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can comment on that, she's got a student that enrolled pretty much on our opening day.
Uh-huh.
Still with the school now a year later. She did not own a guitar when she started, and she was in the group that we rehearsed tonight. She's played 3 shows. She did 1 show with Rock 101, and she's done 2 shows now with our performance group. And I just taught her how to play guitar from the beginning and how to be in a band. Her brother is another student, same thing, a drummer.
Right.
Went from not owning drumsticks to now in these performance groups. And it's just really cool to see that type of progress in just a year's time.
Right.
Just a year's time.
Right.
Play through, 12, 15 songs every season.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
really,
So where do you see you going over the next, I mean, you're a year in, what's the next year going to bring?
I think, just 100 more students and performance groups every single day of the week. And I just want to, the coolest part is I want to be a staple in the community. I want people to know that we're here and what we do, and that, we're doing stuff not just with music, but just community. I want to be able to use our platform for some positive things in the community.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, and we hit on it earlier on, is this isn't the traditional, like, go into a group setting or a one-on-one, and not knocking those because they have their place, but this is like the total experience. This is like A to Z on becoming a musician, playing with a band, and playing out, and the whole experience. I think that's the thing that differentiates you all between you all and the other ones,
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
So now, are there other like other avenues, like getting into the nerdy stuff? Like, will there eventually be, and I don't, maybe this is something the School of Rock offers, maybe it isn't, like the behind the scenes people, not necessarily the performers, but lighting people, sound people, things like that.
So, I mean, not as a standard curriculum, but we have instructors here that are familiar with that, and we are showing students now how to mix
Right.
sound and
Oh,
things,
nice.
you know. And
Yeah.
I'll show students some basic guitar maintenance that they can do on their guitars if I don't have to send them to you. You
Right,
know,
right,
I do. They learn a little bit of that. I do like the fact that I'll be back here sometimes with a parent and a student showing them how to change their strings for the first time
right,
and how to get through that, and maybe
right,
one way to do it and this way that they can start doing it on their own. So,
right.
and I don't mind to do that. It's not nothing. It's not a service that I charge for. I just
Sure.
want, it's just something that we're helping with our students.
Right.
And
Well,
things like that. I mean, like I did mention the mixing the sound stuff. As interest is with the students, that we'll take time to show them how to do some of that stuff
right,
um, and the lighting and stuff too. But I need to learn the lighting better myself.
right.
So there's a room for everybody, I think, to learn something.
But we are going to start incorporating like captains for each performance group, like one of the kids or two of the kids to kind of help us
Right.
manage all the things that go into setting things
Right.
up. And, because too many people can be chaotic. So, but, and
Right.
that would be steps for them to start learning those other aspects.
Right. Well, and it sounds like there's a bigger thing going on here than music. Like there's leadership lessons and responsibility lessons and teamwork lessons and things like that, all behind the scenes,
Yes, that was good. What I was going to say is, as far as me being an instructor here, is watching the kids grow kind of socially. I know Curtis mentioned it before, but we've had some kids come in here and won't say a word, and their parents are
Right.
just like, I don't know, they're not athletic, they're not this, they're not that. We have no idea. Please do something,
Right.
And in 2 more weeks, they're high-fiving Curtis on their way out
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah.
It warms my heart to see this kind of thing. It's not just
Yeah.
the music. There's so much more going on there. They just want to work together and, hey, you got that. That sounded good. And, that's the part that I love, is to see these kids who maybe didn't have their niche necessarily and
Right.
just are really growing into it. Like
Right.
that really inspires me.
Yeah. Well, and Alex, you talked about that growing up, and we've talked about that in a lot of shows with a lot of people feeling like they just didn't fit in. Like, I wasn't a jock, I wasn't a this, I wasn't a that. And I mean, you can expand into that.
Yeah, and like you said, some of these kids that that wouldn't talk, and then they get in a room with like-minded, kids like themselves that have a passion for music, and and it helps kids. Just like people going out to a concert and just escaping, their daily work week or whatever, and they find their people, and
Right.
they forget about all the craziness in life too, So it's such a positive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of this stuff you guys talked about tonight, I wasn't even aware of that you guys do, and it's really amazing. I'm super impressed.
But I mean, if you think, like, you and I talk a lot, obviously, and you've told me stories about growing up, and you were just kind of looking for your place, and you were very young playing with adult bands back then, in the Philly
Yeah,
area, playing out, and
yeah,
then touring eventually.
yeah. Most of the guys were probably average 6 years older than me. I was probably like 13 years old
Yeah.
in the club scene,
Yeah.
underage, but yeah, I mean, it helped me in so many ways. I'm so thankful.
Well, and it's not giving away all your secrets, but this is a much different atmosphere than Philly was back then. And you being 16 in those bands. So the parents should feel really grateful that there's a School of Rock that kind of shelters them in and fosters that creativeness,
Yeah, yeah. But I'm curious now, how like say a kid's taking guitar lessons and he comes in. How is that approach? I mean, are you trying to teach theory right away, or are you teaching them some type of tablature just to kind of get them engaged, to kind of understand, how
So I mean, out of the gate, and I'll start, and Hallie can interject. But we start with the song, right? We start with the song. She'll show them how to play a riff or something on a song that they're interested in. You know, a lot of times with the trial lesson, we'll ask them what they want to play. You know, and Hallie has a huge library of music just in her head, so she can get through a few riffs already with a bunch. She gets them interested right out of the gate, and then we can, you know, even simplify the song so that they can play them on the first day, and then you know, then they're interested in music with this, and then we add the concepts and theory as it's appropriate for them to be able to learn that. Hallie starts with the musical alphabet, and then you know the names of your strings, and then we'll work into some chords, and you know eventually she's working through some, you know, I don't know, pentatonic scales, and then she's also teaching the cool tricks like some Van Halen tapping, or I can tell when she's done a Van Halen lesson because all the kids are doing the horse here in the garage and adding it to every single song in some way, shape, or form. So she goes and teaches those little nuances. So all those things are getting added to it, and then of course with our house band auditions, those are questions that they get asked, and if they don't know their theory, I mean, you can't just be a good guitar player. And it's all the things. So you know, we do get them there, and it's all their own journey. So there's no expectation you have to have this or you can't be here. You know, it's their own journey. So they're going to learn it when they learn it, and it's no pressure. Our patented method books, they're not linear except for book 1. We have 5 books that the lessons are just whatever we're pulling from at the time. Like, what are we going to teach this kid today, or adult, or whatever? And we pull the lessons from those, and we have we have an app as well that they can work on these lessons at home, and we can see if they've been working on their lessons at home.
Right.
You know, there's all these little checks and balances that we add to these kids. It just kind of just adds to the program. All these cool little nuances that we have. That, you know, and I keep on saying, and wait, there's more. You know, and there's more. And you know, we have a 5,500 square foot music school right here. You know, right down here in Costner's Corner. It's just and it's really cool when I walk people through here because it's exciting to give the tour. You know, I'm as excited as the parent and the student seeing the school too, because I'm excited to talk about all these rooms that are named after Van Halen and after Richie Blackmore or Les Claypool. You know, parents always tell me the ones that I missed. You know, I only have so many doors. You know,
that means you need to expand soon, right?
That's right. That's
more doors. Yeah, you know, we've talked about it a lot, but man, words don't do it justice how nice that place is. It's it's really laid out nicely. It's a great place.
Yeah, there's the cool things. And, you know, we have all the security cameras. Our doors all have windows, so there's everything's well lit. And all the instructors have been background checked, and I have you know, I let you in the door. You know, you have to be buzzed in. You know, not people just walking out off the street coming back here with our students. It's a safe place for them to be, and to be themselves. So,
and I think it's a total win-win. You know, there's a couple things like, you know, nowadays there's a lot of things that the young players or young people can get into that aren't necessarily productive, and if they're with you in School of Rock, you know, that's an awesome example, leadership example, talent, picking up a skill. I say the same thing, so I have to put this on guitars too. So I always tell wives when they come in here griping about how many guitars their husbands have, that their husbands could be doing worse with their money. Same kind of concept. So if they're at School of Rock and they're performing, you know, there's a lot of bad influences out there on the outside they could be doing it that they're not doing while they're with you. The last thing I have is, and you know, I just personally had an experience with this, is the adult program. I like that a lot. Like the kids and all that, the younger players, the super young players, that's cool. But I think the coolest was the adult performance. You know, maybe because I'm old. I'm saying that because I'm old.
I mean, and it just checks that box, your bucket list. Like you always wanted to be in a band. Well, we got one for you. We teach you how to be in a band, and and it conforms to their busier schedules, right? And their slow down pace, just because they don't have the time that the kids have to learn the material. Right. They're in here, they get their lessons, they do their rehearsals, they work with Mallori sometimes. They work with Paul, who's another amazing. They're both in the same band together, and they come here and teach them how to be in a band together. And I mean, you guys are in for a treat when this next show comes around, because they've been working really hard and they are sounding really good.
Right,
they're really coming around. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Well, and they looked. I guess like there was, and I don't know if we want to go into their names, but there was one lady up there playing on the stage. And at the end, it's going to sound kind of hokey, I wanted to go up and give her a high five.
Right.
Like she looked like she was having such a good time. Then, of course, the one I interacted with, she plays bass and drums. And she was up for, I think that was her first performance. And she did a great job.
That's right. That's right. That's Julie. She's great.
Yeah. It was just great to see that happening. And I think, for my, people in my age group, I talked to somebody the other day, a lady that brought a guitar in, and she's kind of searching right now for where do I go with guitars. She has some really nice guitars, and I sent her your way and told her about the adult program. That I think that is really neat. That to see those people that probably wouldn't have come out of their shell before you were around, and here they are out there now performing.
And they come from everywhere, all backgrounds, everything, all different types of work, all different age groups.
All ages. I was going to say that we have some right out of high school. We have some that are pushing 60, and they're all just wanting to dust off their old instruments and it's
and I think that's the cool, like, not to harp on the older players, but like we all expect, like my daughter took lessons when she was young and then through her teen years, but there's so many of us that get to a certain age and we say we can't learn anymore. Like, well, we can't do that now. We can't be up on the stage. That's a fine example that they're making it happen. Mm-hmm. So I like it. So cool stuff. What do you got, Alex? Before we wind down, if anybody has any questions, I'll throw a couple. Joe said a couple. And he was making comments to a couple of the things that were. I think the yep was when I was saying they could be doing worse, out on the street, and talking about you all running around up in Philly, because he was probably running around with you up there, right?
Yeah.
So he said, "Yep, you could be doing worse." Yeah. So what else do you have, Alex?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I just like to thank you guys for coming on tonight, and you really informed me a lot about the School of Rock, because I wasn't really all that familiar of what goes on behind the scenes and what you guys are teaching, and it's really, you guys are just covering all the bases. I think especially when you're talking about performing on stage and this and that, and that's a big part of it, is just the chemistry between the players. And it's not just because there's a lot of YouTube people, they just sit behind doing stuff on YouTube, which is fantastic, but playing together, that's the real thing, I think. And that's the real magic, is when you get players together and they're connecting and working off each other as players, and and getting out in front of an audience. Like I said, that's a whole other animal right there performing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's just really, I'm super impressed, and I really have to check it out. I have to bring my daughter down and see one of the shows.
Oh yeah, I'll be looking for you.
Yeah. I think we're gonna try to slip down our 15th, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna try. Yeah.
Our house
I'll be done.
Performing that day.
So house band, we're playing at the lunchtime crowd, so like 1 to 3 they'll be out there playing their set, and then absolutely they'll take you guys by the school, show you around everything that we have here. I mean there's more that we haven't even touched on that the school does that just we don't have time for it. It's just a lot. There's things that I forget that we do. Like there's just so much here. So I do appreciate you guys having us on too. It was really awesome.
Thank you. I was trying to get Haley to talk more. That's why I kept asking her questions. I figure if I kept prodding her, she would talk.
The best way to get her to talk is start talking about all these bands from the 80s. She can,
Yeah.
I can even
All right.
keep her on that.
Haley, what's your favorite band?
So many. Right now, I really like Deep Purple.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're speaking my language.
Yeah. I was talking about some of the bands you were in with Alex the other day when we were talking on the phone. All right. So what's your top 5?
Top 5 bands.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I really like Deep Purple. I like Rainbow. I like
there you go.
Standard. I like Journey.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna think of one more. Van Halen.
Wow.
I can name
Great.
2 more.
Yeah. All right. So top 3. I'll get to the singers here in a minute. All right. Top 3 guitar players.
Okay.
Rick number 1.
Definitely.
All right. So now the next 3.
Okay. Richie Blackmore, Eddie Van
Okay.
Halen, and Randy Rhoads.
Wow.
Oh.
So Necroshin, is this blowing your mind? How young she is and knows these people? I wondered how Joe's probably going like, wow, how old is she? Okay. So, all right, top 3 guitars.
Like guitar brands?
Yeah.
Okay. I really like DC Rich. I like Charvel, Fender,
Okay.
Epiphone, and one more. Is Jackson?
Oh yeah. Nice. All right, let's put yeah, he said yes it is, blowing his mind. Oh, BC Rich. Cody said BC
Favorite
Rich.
guitar brand.
What's that?
BC Rich is my favorite guitar brand.
Oh wow. Wow.
She has an Iron Bird at the house.
Wow.
And I don't
All
see
right.
any Iron Birds out there, but she's got one. That's pretty cool.
All right, Mallori,
Yeah.
since you do vocals, top 3 singers.
Oh boy. Well, so look, I'm old, really old school, and music starts from the jazz era. So I'm going with Ella Fitzgerald.
Ooh.
Then you have, Aretha Franklin. Come on, seriously.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. And then let's see, we'll go country. How about Martina McBride? She
Okay.
can, I love her.
All
Yeah.
right. All right,
Oh, great.
top 3 bands.
My favorite bands?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay, so we'll take us back to high school then. So pretty much anything from the Family Values, like 1999. So Corn,
Right.
let's see, 311. I like 311.
Okay.
And maybe Incubus for sure.
Oh, okay, cool. See, that's down my alley. I'm more alternative.
Yeah.
Alternative. No, I say I'm a musical mutt. All right, Curtis.
We go with the bands, so I'm a real big Poison.
All
fan.
right, so let's go song first.
Songs.
Top 3 songs.
Whew. Man, that's really tough because I did not have those in my brain preloaded, so I was already going with bands. So
I did that on purpose. Okay, it's Life is a Highway.
no, I would say anything from Pearl Jam is on
Okay.
that list. I'm really big into Bush and
Okay.
Poison, so any songs from any of those 3 is
Okay.
on my playlist for sure.
Okay.
But I can sit there and tell you, like, I love Garbage and Hole and Nirvana.
Yeah.
I mean, anything from those, I'll sing
Okay.
along in the car, and that's about it.
Okay.
But
All right. What is your so we know you get to do the owner's choice on performance songs. What's your next choice? And can we sway you out of it, away from it?
oh my gosh, well, it's already on the list, I think, because I was getting some Avril Lavigne stuff on there. So I got Skater Boy on that list for sure. Right? Yes.
Haley, how'd you let that happen?
Owner's Choice. What? That's awesome. Misery Business of Paramore songs. Those will be on there for sure, right?
You know what? I gotta tell you, on the down low, I like Paramore a lot.
Me too.
I don't know why. Maybe it's Haley Williams. I don't know. But I think some of it is no, I think they're kind of cool, but so some of it is I think I like Paramore because my daughter used to sing one of their songs and I would play the guitar to it.
Aw.
So I kind of like it because she listened to them a lot. So she's not like Haley though. She listens to old stuff like Metallica and everything back to Beach Boys. She listens to everything. So yeah, Paramore's a sleeper, I think. Kinda cool. All right, who else? Curtis?
So I didn't, you know what? I'm actually been pleasantly surprised that I'm really getting into like the Black Keys right now. I
Yeah,
never
they're pretty good.
much, but I'm really starting to listen to them a lot more. And I was like, until this season, I wasn't really interested. And I was like, you know what? It's on my playlist now on the ride to work in the morning. So
Yeah,
I didn't know I was going to like this so much. So yeah.
yeah. All right,
But
so
I'm going to put on any of these fan favorites. You know, I'm a Bon Jovi fan. So whenever we're doing a season, you know, I'll put Bon Jovi on there. I don't care.
right.
I'll do it. Def Leppard.
He's like, stop that. Who?
Def Leppard for sure.
Yeah, okay, that's a winner.
I'll be putting those songs on there every
Yeah.
time. Every time.
Okay, so let's Joe Necroshin. So let's give Curtis, if Curtis would be willing to do this, let's give him an assignment over the next week. He can text me what he thinks of them. Text, and Alex, you too. Give him one band he has to listen to this week, and then he can text me back what he thought of it.
Okay.
I would give him one too. Will you take 3? Will you try 3?
You want me to try listening to 3 songs and give you my opinion? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
just
saying?
3 bands. Like you can listen to.
3 bands.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah.
going obscure or just something I would know?
What's that?
Are you going really obscure or something I would know?
Not obscure. Just something different. Like Alex does this with me once in a while, like something I wouldn't otherwise listen to.
Okay.
So just something a little different.
I'm down.
All right, Alex, go ahead. And we'll wait for Necroshin to kick in.
So what is the question? What do you want?
All right. Something that Curtis probably wouldn't normally listen to, like a band or an album.
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, because most people wouldn't even believe some of the music I listen
Something
to.
that you would recommend, something you find interesting that he should listen to.
Well, I'm a huge. This is a 90s singer that I'm a huge fan of. It's a female singer named P.J.Harvey, and I'm sure you're familiar with P.J.Harvey, but you know, a lot of her music could be piano singing, or she could have very heavy guitar-oriented music, experimental. I mean, she's across the board. I think she's one of the greatest musicians of the modern era.
Right.
I'm taking notes. So.
Yeah, Curtis, you haven't heard P.J.Harvey? That's
No.
kind of alternative from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so probably when I was listening to that really hard, I wasn't interested in who was playing. I was listening to the songs, you know. And
I do the same thing.
It's like I could tell you the song, but I wouldn't tell you who sang it. And
Yeah, that's me. I
it's
never.
They're on a music school, and I'm kind of clueless sometimes of what they're talking about.
Yeah, sometimes if I like the song, I like the song. I don't even know who sings it or which band it is. All right, so Necroshin hasn't kicked one in yet. So you know where I'm going to go. And this is kind of like out of my realm too, usually. Blood Incantation. And Haley, check this out also, because you're like in all kind of music. Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere. Their most recent. It's super interesting.
That all that?
Yeah. So it's they're a death metal band, but they crossed into it's like extreme
Ambient?
metal meets Pink Floyd, King Crimson. If you're familiar with that, a lot of very 70s prog influence kind of stuff. Their latest record is 2 songs, and each song is probably about 25 minutes long.
Yeah, but they're actually Curtis. I like it a lot. They're really good. They're very interesting, kind of prog rock-ish also. Like it is like death metal meets Pink Floyd meets ambient music.
All right.
Yeah, that their album Absolute Elsewhere was number 4 on Time Magazine's list last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what you think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Croatian, I think he fell asleep, so he didn't. All right, so you only have 2, and then you have to text me and let me know it. He's gonna be, what is this? But P.J.Harvey, I'm sure when he listens to that, he's gonna recognize it.
I will, and I'll be embarrassed that I said I didn't know that was.
No, because I'm the. Trust me, I do. Every week we're in here, they're talking about everybody, and I'm looking clueless. Wait a minute. Listen to my uncle's old band, Union.
Oh yeah, that's John Corabi. John was the singer, replaced Vince Neil in Motley Crue very briefly. That was his band with Bruce Kulick of Kiss.
Ah,
And that was John and him.
I thought about Bruce Kulick for a long time.
yeah, that's cool. So there's the assignment. You didn't know you were going to do me a favor and come on a podcast and then get an assignment.
I'm taking notes like I'm at school.
Everybody's sitting there watching a podcast and Curtis taking notes. Like, what's he writing down?
We actually do that a lot of times. Be on tour with a different band, and say if you're sharing a bus together, we're always swapping music. Hey, check this out. Have you ever heard of this? And it's a lot of fun actually.
Yeah,
To do that. So it exposes you to some interesting music sometimes that you never
No, for sure.
well,
checked
we've
out.
had people in the comments that'll shoot me something to listen, like, "Hey, try this out," and it's something I probably wouldn't normally listen to, because I'm just kind of listening to the radio and whatever's on it. Curtis, I'm a lot like you. It's like, who sings that? I don't know. It's just a song on the radio that I like. I'm kind of oblivious to who it is. Yeah. That's me. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody for joining us. We appreciate you all for being on. And if you hang out for a second, I'll hit the end button. Thanks, everybody. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next Thursday.
All right. Bye.